Hi guys. So we're going to introduce a new technique today using Photopea or Photoshop. It works for both, um, and it's called cloning or clone stamping, depending on who you ask. Technically, the tool is right here, and it's called the clone tool. In Photoshop, it's called the clone stamp. It's one time it was called the stamping tool. Um, Bottom line is the clone tool is used for removing things or adding things into a picture. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate how to do it on three different pictures, and then you are going to try it out and see how it goes for you. Um, so on our classroom, there are currently three images for you. One is balloons, boat, and planes. Okay, I want you to go ahead and save these and then open all three of them in Photopea. So I have three files, boat, balloons, and planes. You can see them in the tabs right up here at the top. Um, so the cloning tool is used for taking something that you don't want in a picture and getting rid of it. So for example, in this plane picture, I'm going to start with the plane picture. So that's probably where you should start too. Um, in the plane picture, um, what if I decide that I think these three planes look real cool, but I don't really like this one. I want to change this guy out and remove him and put in a new picture or get rid of him so you don't know that he was there. This works for lots of different things, like if you wanted to remove a person out of a picture or remove something distracting. I would say this is a little bit distracting. And so what would I do if I wanted to get rid of that out of the photo? So this is how you do it. Use this guy right here. This is the cloning tool. Um, there's a couple of other ways to do it, but generally the cloning tool is, I think, the easiest. There's also a spot healing brush. This is really good for getting rid of little tiny things, like someone has a pimple, something like that. There's also what's called a patch tool, which works really, really well for getting rid of large things, but I'm not going to talk about those right now. I'm just going to talk about the cloning tool or the clone stamp. Um, I'm just going to call it the cloning tool. So this is my cloning tool. And what cloning does is it takes information from one part of a picture and it copies it somewhere else. You can also clone between two pictures as well. But in this case, I'm going to take information from one area and copy it to another area. So this is the clone tool right here. Um, these are the options at the top, just like any other brush. If I click two fingers, it allows me to change the size of that brush, and also the hardness of the edge. Um, in my experience, you get the best cloning results if you turn the hardness all the way down. Okay, so I right click or two finger click and take the hardness setting and turn it all the way to 0. Okay, um, for the size, I want to use a size that is um, smaller than the object, but not tiny. I would say this is a pretty good size right here. And my goal here is I want to remove this plane right here, and also the smoke or whatever coming out of the back, because I need to get rid of both of those things. Um, uh, yeah, I'll start with the planes first. Let's do that first. So first step one, create a new layer. Okay, always, 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 when you're cloning, you always want to do it on a new layer first. Okay, and then when I grab my clone tool, I need to make sure right up here at the top, I choose the setting here where it says source, and it must say all layers. Okay, if it says current layer, it's only going to clone things that are on the same layer. Okay, at the moment, there's nothing on this layer. Okay, so I need to make sure that I choose all layers. Okay, um, so then when I want to start cloning something, here's how it works. You hold the Alt key on your Chromebook. If you're using a Mac, it'll be the Option key, but it's the Alt key on your Chromebook. And so the first thing you do is you tell Photopea, what do I want to copy? Okay, so if I hold the Alt key and I click on the airplane, okay, and then I start painting with it, when I move my brush around, you see there's a little sort of a ghost image. It looks like a little bit of the airplane. That's the area that I clicked on when I held the Alt key and clicked. It shows me what it's going to copy. Okay, and then as I start painting with that, you see that it is copying that area. And actually, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little kind of a check mark, a little plus mark showing the area where it's copying from. Okay, so it just copied that area where the airplane is, and it copied it to that area. Okay, now it's on a new layer. Okay, so I can turn that layer off if I want to. I can also move it around or do whatever I want to do with it. If I wanted to have more of those planes, I could do it just as easily. Um, but in this case, what I want to do is I actually want to get rid of this plane. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that layer. Um, so let me try again. Make a new layer, and I want to get rid of this plane. So what I need to clone is an area of the sky, like right here, where there's no plane. Okay, so clone tool, new layer, make sure it says source all layers. Okay, and then I hold the Alt key and just click in the open sky area. I might use this area. I might use this area. Um, Whichever area is a closer match, that's what you want to use. I'm going to go for this right now and see how that looks. Um, so now when I start painting this, it's going to just be taking that blue color from the sky and painting right over the plane. Okay. Now, what I really need to pay attention here is that I don't get too close to the clouds here from the other plane. Might want to make this brush a little bit smaller so that I can control it a little bit better. And I want to go just far enough to get rid of the plane, but not get rid of the other plane's trail it's leaving behind, just like that. Now, you might have noticed there's a little bit of a weird edge right here, so I'm going to want to fix that too. So again, I hold the Alt key, click it one time. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to paint out that little edge. Whoops, that didn't work. Control Z, make it a little bit smaller. Alt, click, and just get rid of that area right there. And there you have it. Okay, so if I hide this layer, you'll see what I did. I basically removed that plane, and if you didn't know it was there, you would never know that I had removed anything. Okay, let me try again with a different picture. I want you to try first with the planes, all right? But after you've done the planes, I want you to try something a little bit more difficult. We're going to do this boat right here, and I want to try and get rid of the boat completely, so there's no boat at all. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this, zoom in a little bit. Again, step one, make a new layer. By the way, you'll notice it's still picking up that sky color from the other picture. If I wanted to, I could clone a plane into this picture if I wanted to, but I really don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. So I want to get rid of this boat. The tricky part about getting rid of the boat is that there is this horizon line. Okay, and the challenge here is making sure that the new area that I clone lines up perfectly with that horizon line so that you can't see that there was ever anything there. Okay, so again, clone stamp. Okay, I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller, about like that. That's good. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to put my cursor right on that horizon line. Okay, so I know that that's the point that I'm copying from, and I'm going to do it from over here. Okay, so Alt, click. Now when I move my cursor, you can see exactly what it's going to copy. It's going to copy that exact horizon line wherever I go. So I'm going to put it right on the edge so that that new horizon lines up with the old horizon. Okay, I'm going to line it up as close as I can, and I'm going to try to paint over the whole area with one click. So I'm not going to be clicking and clicking and clicking all over the place. I want to put it right on that edge, just like that. And then I'm going to paint up to the top and down to the bottom, just like that. Okay. And as I'm painting, it is covering up that entire area. And hopefully my horizon stays aligned, and it did. So I did that entire area with literally just one single click of my clone brush. Um, the less clicks you can use, often the better it will look. Okay, now this looks a little bit weird right here. I've got a little bit of a wake here from the boat. This little wave right here is okay. Um, but this one is not so great. So again, Alt click, and I want to get rid of that wave right there, okay, and right here. And that's it. So just like that, the boat is gone, okay? Very easy and very cool. Um, Lastly, I've got some balloons. Okay, so this picture has a whole bunch of balloons in it, and some of these balloons, maybe I don't care for them so much. Okay, so for example, I'm not really into this guy right here. He's kind of poking his head around the edge there, and it looks a little bit weird. Okay, so I'm gonna make a new layer, grab my clone. Okay, hold Alt, and I'm gonna use this area right here to cover him up. And then the trick here is I don't want to cover up the edge of the balloon, so I might have to use my eraser a little bit. Um, so I'm going to try cloning him out. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to take that area. I'm going to go a little bit over the edge of the balloon, just a little bit, like that. Get rid of the head completely. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to use my eraser with so here's my eraser. And in this case, I want my eraser to have a nice sharp edge on it. And I'm just going to clean up that edge so that the edge of the balloon looks correct. Just like that. Okay. Now, a little bit of a weird edge there. Grab my stamp again. Go a little bit smaller. Just touch up that little edge like so. Okay. And then you'll see that that guy's gone. So I'm going to take out a couple of other balloons. Let's get rid of this clown one right here. Not a big fan of the clown, so let's get rid of him. Alt click to pick a new spot, and then paint right over him, just like so. Now you'll notice as I'm painting, it starts copying the clown again. What's going on there? Well, as it's painting, it's copying what was there before. So if I get to the edge of where the clown was, it starts copying the actual clown, which is not what I want. So I'm going to have to pick up another area, like let's say this area right here, and I'll use that to cover up that clowny spot, just like that. Okay, let's take out, how about if I take out 5 of these guys? How about that? I'm going to get rid of this guy. Okay, Alt, click, start painting him out. Alt, click. Now you notice that I am clicking a couple of different spots to get just the look that I want and make it as seamless and realistic as possible. Whoops, missed a spot. Remember, the ultimate goal here is to fool the viewer that there is um, nothing has been removed. This guy's pretty weird. Let's get rid of him. Alt, click. Oops, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Alt, click. I'll pick a smaller area. Make my brush a little smaller, just like that. Okay. That looks a little sloppy. Let's touch that up a little bit. Alt, click. There we go. That's better. So this is really easy with clouds or water, things like that don't have a lot of details in them, or when the details are kind of generic. Um, it does not work so well for things that are like, someone standing in front of a building, someone standing in front of a car. That makes it really, really hard to stamp something out. So as much as you can uh, find, or use a background for this that has sort of a natural appearance to it as opposed to, something man-made, that makes the task a heck of a lot easier. Okay, so I have removed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 um, balloons. Now, let's say, for example, I feel like I'm missing something up here. I want to add another balloon in. I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to take this, let's take this yellow one right here, and I'm going to make a copy of him. So I'm going to hold Alt, click on the balloon, and then move over to this area, and I'm just gonna make a copy of him, just like that. Cool. Let's copy a couple more. Let's take this guy here and let's copy him. Let's put him right here. Now, when you're copying something, you might find a little bit of weirdness. So I got a little bit of an edge right there that I'm going to want to get rid of. I'm going to use a soft edge on my eraser here to make that a nice um, sort of gradual transition and really make it look realistic. There you go. That works pretty good. Okay, so here's what my picture looked like before. I removed a few balloons and then I added in two more. Okay, so that's what I want you to try. Actually, there's one more thing here I want to get rid of. There's a watermark up here. Now, I don't normally endorse getting rid of watermarks because that shows the ownership of who owns this image. But in our case, this is for educational purposes, so it's okay if I get rid of it. So I'm going to get rid of that watermark as well. And there you have it. That's it. That's the end. So here's what you're going to do. Uh, I want you to practice first on the planes, okay, and then I want you to practice on the boat, and then I want you to practice on the balloons, just like I did. Um, and ultimately, I want you to pick two to submit onto our classroom. So you're going to submit two files on Classroom. You can do the boat and the plane, the boat and the balloons and the planes, whatever. But pick two, do the best you can, and submit them on our Classroom today. All right. Thank you. Good luck.